In this video, we will discuss about mechanotransductions pathway in cells. In brief, we will discuss four different types or four different kinds of mechanotransductions that can trigger different signaling pathways in the cells. We will start with this panel A, or on the top left side, that is the force. When it inhibits this hypoactive pathway, then what will happen? So when the hippo pathways are active, then it will form a complex. This MST and LAT form a complex and phosphorylate it, that will cause this YAP and TAC phosphorylations, and this will keep them in the cytosolic form. This will keep them in the cytosols, or we can say that the YAP TAZ complex formations or its activations is considered as a cytosolic form of this complex, and that will prevent them from entering into the nucleus. But once, because of the force, mechanotransduction force, these hippo pathways are inactive, then this YAP-TAZ will go for nuclear translocations, and there it will interact with this TAD and helps in the upregulations of the genes that are related to the immune cells, or this metabolic reprogrammings and proliferations of the cells. And the other pathways that we have discussed previously also is related to this uh, FAK pathways, or force adhesion kinase pathways. In this case, the integrins interact with the force, and that will form either polymerizations of these actins or depolymerizations of these actins. Depolymerizations usually occurs through these myosins, and during the polymerizations it will take up this G actins that are interacting with this MRFTA, leaving MRFTA alone, or we can say that G actin release from this MRFTA, and this will cause the MRFTA for the nuclear translocations, and there it will interact with the SRF, and it will promotes the genes that is responsible for metabolic reprogramming proliferations in the response to inflammatory stimuli. So in this case also, this tailin interactions with this FAK and SRC will cause the activations of this FAK SRC complex, and this will also promotes or upregulates the genes that are involved in survival, adhesions, migrations, and phagocytosis. And because of the polymerizations and depolymerizations, it will helps in changing the polymerization and depolymerizations of this affectin, helps in changing the morphology of the cells. At the same time, it will helps these myosins will helps in this depolymerizations, thereby the contractions of the cells, whereas the polymerizations, affecting polymerizations, helps in the elongations of the cells, and both of these conditions helps in the migrations of the cells from one place to another place. And next one is this cytosolic actins. So when this kind of forces, when the forces that cause the cytosolic actins, which will leads to the this link formations, which is the which composed of this SUN and neosporin complex. And when this complex formations occurs, it will also promote the translocation of this YAP-TAZ, this MRFTA through this nucleus polymerizations. So this kind of forces will enhance the effect of the forces that we have seen through these hypoinactive pathways by inactivating these hippo pathways, and also through these integrin interactions. So this panel C forces will only enhance, or will also enhance, the effect of the hypoinactive pathway and the integrin interactions through the external forces or extracellular matrix. The next kind of forces that are mentioned here is about the cell surface receptors, that is TRPV and piezo1. So because of the mechanical forces, this pores gets activated, and this will cause the Ca2 influx inside the cells, and because of the disruptions in the CO2 concentrations, it will leads to this up. The triggering of the following pathways mainly that are represented here, that is cell growth, cytoskeletal reorganizations, proliferations, and this NF kappa beta, MRF, MRTF, SRF, WIPE, ZEP. So overall we can see that all of these forces are not working completely independently to each other, but they are somewhat related to each other, and their final outcomes also have some overlaps. So these are four major pathways that we have discussed. If you need to understand more about their signaling pathways in detail, you can go through the reference that has been provided in the description. That's all for this video. Thank you for your time.